Today, the second day of our workshop, and today we are going to uh, we have only two sessions today. And for the first sessions will be by Dr. Jonin Musahari, Assistant Professor, Department of Political Science, Borderland University, and second sessions, which will be there will be research person, Dr. A. Ornasalam, E. Ornasalam from University of Science and Technology, Applied Economics, Cochin, from Kerala. So yesterday, due to some technical issues, I myself, Mintu Pathar, could not attend even sometimes in this workshop because of technical issues. And even I'm very sorry to say that our principal, he could not also deliver his speech as welcome address. For that reason, I apologize to all of you. Now, today's session, two topics that we have, and the first topic is literature review in research, which will be presented and also delivered lecture by Dr. Jonin Musari, a professor of Department of Political Science at Borderland University. And I'm going to tell you about Dr. Musari sir. Dr. Jonin sir is working as an assistant professor who joined in this university since its beginning. As you know that due to the BTC Accord in 2003, the one campus, university campus that has been established in Kukrazar under Guwahati University, and from that time, Dr. Musahari was as the professor in this university, and as an assistant professor in the Department of Political Science, he did MA from Guwahati University in 2005 and completed BH from Guwahati, or we can say the same university. He is, hello, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, I'm audible.
He's awarded PhD from University of Borderland in 2019. Dr. Musari sir completed 12 years his term till now, and he has done so many terrific work in Southeast Asia politics and also in human rights. He has published different articles in different national and international journals, as well as also he is author and co-author of different books in his career, and also he is very energetic and very cooperative with his students as well as different activities in our society. And now I request Dr. Musahari sir to deliver his speech as well as also present uh, in his topic, literature review in research. So now I'm going to offer and also request Dr. Jonin sir to present his presentation, literature review in research. Thank you to all of you. And I think all the participants will listen very carefully. And I request all the participants to ask on at least minimum one question, not more than that, because have so many, not so many time to conduct sessions within a specific period. So again, I request you please ask only one question too, because there are so many participants in our workshop. That is why I again and again request. Now it's the time for Dr. Musari sir, and I request Jayanto Polita, uh, our joint coordinator, also to invite Dr. Jonin Musari sir.
Okay, Fatak, shall I continue?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Fatak, for the nice introduction. Although I'm not worthy to be introduced like that. Anyway, and all the participants, I welcome. And sorry for the delay because of the technical glitch. So today I will be delivering, want to share my views on literature review in social science research. So this will be my outline all through my deliberations. So what is literature review? Why it is important? Then what are the purpose of the review? And what are different steps while reviewing the literature? Then what are the sources from where we get those literatures? Then what types of literature are appropriate? What types of literatures are not appropriate? Then what are the common mistakes that we used to do during the time of literature review? And lastly, I will try to conclude the deliberation with a short conclusion. So first of all, let us have a basic knowledge about what literature review is all about. So it originates from the French word, which is review, meaning the formal examinations of an earlier work or something that has been done already, so as to make necessary changes, so as to make changes if necessary. So literature review includes a critical assessment of a book, of a journal, of an article, so any other work or report that has already been done, that has already been written, and that has already been researched. Then what does it gives us while reviewing the literature? So it gives us the theoretical basis for the research. It helps to determine the nature of particular research work that has already done, and it helps in understanding a particular researchers what he's going to do. Then it is also a selection of available documents. The documents that is reliable, the documents that is relevant, and the effective evaluation of those documents in relation to the research being proposed by a particular researcher. So a particular topic needs a first-hand understanding before going for a research. So if a particular individual or an organization was supposed to do a particular work of a problem, then he needs to have a knowledge on that particular topic, and which is possible only when you go for a literature that has already been done or that is already existing. So overall, a literature review is a comprehensive overview of prior research regarding a specific problem. So the overview both shows the reader what is known about a topic, what is not yet known, and what are the shortcomings. So thereby setting up a rationale or need for a new investigation. So that is how literature review is very important, while if you choose a particular topic, and that has to be relevant. So without relevant, review means nothing for a scholar or a researcher. So next, let me try to have an idea about why we need a review. So literature review in social science is a neglected one, which we tend to undermine frequently, either by the PhD scholar or either by a authors who are submitting a article in a peer-reviewed journal. Or even if it is reviewed, but it is frequently performed in an unsystematic ways. So whereas literature review in medical sciences and other natural science subjects, it is one of the very important part of a particular research. But whereas in social science, we used to undermine the importance of a literature review. So only in the year 2002, a systematic review of a literature review in social science has got its momentum. And nowadays, even if you submit an article in the highly indexed journals, you are bound to submit the existing literature review, and you are asked to submit your proposal. What is new about your topic and why you are submitting this particular research paper, and what are the connection between the existing literature and your research, and what will be the contribution of your articles in this research. That is how many of the highly indexed research journal used to ask, even if you submit a manuscript while submitting a research article. So that is why we need a systematic, relevant literature review in any types of research, any types of article and manuscript we are going to submit, etc., etc. So a systematic literature review is a precondition for doing substantive, thorough, sophisticated research. So good research always advances our collective understanding to a particular problem. And this can be possible when you relate your topics, where you relate your research problem with the existing literature. So to advance our collective understanding, a researcher or a scholar needs to understand what has been done before, the strengths and the weakness of existing studies, and what they might mean. So without understanding this, when you do research, so it may be coincide what has been already done, or it may be mere a duplication of the research which has already been done. Although you don't know what has been done earlier, and you have not reviewed any paper or books or journals, and knowingly, unknowingly, your research article or your research proposal may be in coincidence relevant with that particular existing literature, and it will create a problem. So that is why we need a first-hand knowledge of the existing literature. That is why the review is very much important and part of a research. So a researcher cannot perform significant research without the first-hand understanding of the literature in the field. So without understanding the proper knowledge about existing literature, one cannot go for a research proposal. And even one cannot go for a article submission in the highly indexed journals that has already been mentioned earlier. So not understanding the prior research clearly puts a researcher at a disadvantaged position, or may result repetition or duplication. And it may create problems during the time of submission. So plagiarism may be the issue. However, the researchers may not know that these types of research or proposal has already been submitted, or article has already been submitted. That is why review is very important for a scholar, even the academician like me and everybody. So in a nutshell, what we can say is that a good literature review is the basis of both theoretical and methodological sophistication. So thereby improving the quality and usefulness of subsequent research. So this literature review, when you go into the depth of literature review, your topics may change while in the process of research. So this is no big issue in that. So that is why review is one of the most important thing in the research, which always we used to undermine, especially in the social science research. So now what are the purpose of the review? What are the use of this review? So the main aims of literature review is a means of demonstrating the author's knowledge about a particular field of study. It enables the researcher to find ways of future research. Just as I said earlier, your topic or your research proposal may change in the course of a research process. So when you go depth analysis about the existing literature, suppose you are going to do a research on displacement in its impact. And when you go for a review, you have already noticed that someone has already done this particular research. And there is no question of repetition of the same topic. Then it guides you. You follow what methods has been done, what methodological analysis has been done, what are the delimitation of that particular research problem, then you get the idea. You may change the topic or you may contest the existing literature. That is how it helps the purpose. Then Goldberg and Gall, 1996, argue that the literature reviews plays a role in delimiting the research problem. Suppose a particular individual has done the same topics analyzing in the context of Assam, for example. Now you wanted to do research on the same topic on other methodology. So either you have to contest the existing literature, its methodology, or its limitation, plus its geographical limitation, etc., etc. Thus, the review helps the purpose. Then seeking new lines of inquiry. So this, when a particular research proposal has been submitted, and in the process, you find that a particular research problem of the same nature which that you have proposed seems to be in the same line, but the line of inquiry is something different that you propose. So you will find which way you have to go in the research. Then next is avoiding fruitless approaches. Someone has done a narrative on qualitative analysis, but you contest that particular narratives. You found it is fruitless. Now you want to do it in a quantitative way. So that way it helps a researcher. And next is gaining methodological insights. As I have already mentioned that, as you go deeper into the literature review, and you have to see which methods that a particular existing literature has accepted, what kind of methods, what kind of analysis, whether it is explanatory, whether it is exploratory, or whether it is a case study. So you will get insight, you will get first-hand knowledge. Then on the basis of that knowledge, you will draw your own research problems. Then identifying recommendations for the future research. Each and every research articles, each and every be it a PhD topics or any kind of research, you will find always a further research area or the wide aspect of research area. You will find it that context. So what can be done other than this? Suppose one is doing on displacement on human rights, then that particular research topic has been suggesting we can do in human security, you can do in economic impact, you can do in psychological impact. So there will be always a recommendations. And this you will find while you review a particular existing literature. That helps the purpose of literature review. Then seeking support for grounded theory. So in the end, there you will find the theory. You will analyze the theory, you will synthesize it, then you make a new theory. Each and every research will find a grounded theory. Then if you satisfy that particular theory, which has already been done by someone, then you can choose another theory because your interest is on that particular topic. But that particular topic has already been done. But that particular suggestion of grounded theory is something different. So you gain the first-hand knowledge. What theory you will be going for the research. So all these are the purpose of reviewing literature. So again, Hart in 1990 contributes additional reason for reviewing the literature. So what are the purpose? Distinguishing what has been done from and what needs to be done. That is one of the most important things that we used to do while analyzing the literature review. So what he has done and what needs to be done. And that particular gap that you get to know while reviewing the research. Then discovering important variables relevant to the topics. So maybe independent or dependent variables. It depends on the researchers. You can distinguish whether you go in that line or that line. Then creating and gaining a new perspective. When you go for a literature review, you synthesize, you create your own, and you try to gain a different perspective because repeating is meaningless. So you have to create a new, what he has done and what I'm going to do. Although the study area or the research proposal may be the same, but you have to prove yourself that my perspective will be in that line. You have to prove that, you have to show the audience. So identifying relationship between ideas and practices. While analyzing a certain research topic or literature, you find that there is no correlation between the ideas and practices. Now you can contest that particular research. So the idea is impractical, or the ideas cannot be implemented in practice. That can be contested. That is how it helps the purpose of literature review. Then enhancing and acquiring the subject vocabulary. You got to know many things while you goes on reviewing the literature. Then understanding the structure of the subject. It is also one of the most important part while a researcher needs to know. So you can structure your research problem. Even if chapterization will be very helpful when you analyze, when you review articles or existing literature. Then relating ideas in theory to applications, identifying the main methodologies and research techniques that have been used. So what have been used and what you are going to use. You can identify these things. Then placing the research in a historical context to show familiarity with the state-of-the-art developments. So how familiar with the research topic, with the existing of the state-of-the-art developments. Because nowadays everything develops in a manner that we never know. So you can place the research in those perspectives. What was before, what was in the beginning, what was in the middle, and what was now. So you can have ideas. So Pathak sir, you are hearing me?
Yes, sir.
Just remind me if I exceed my time.
Okay, sir. Okay, I will remain you, sir.
Okay.
You please continue, sir.
So what are the steps in literature review? This is one of the most asked questions. Whenever we used to attend a lecture series or any other programs, a program like this. So what are the steps in reviewing the literature? Since I have already said in the beginning that it is one of the most neglected in social science areas. So Cooper's, his literature on taxonomy of literature review, classification of literature review, he has mentioned certain steps while you review the literature. So first he mentioned is about problem formulations. Those problems, the questions that will guide literature review. So you should have the ideas, and ideas of research should not be imposed by someone else, which basically is the criteria while doing PhD research. So most of the guides, if I'm not wrong, have certain interest, and on the basis of the interest of the guides, they used to impose on those ideas upon the scholar, and that is the hidden truth, and we have to accept the reality. But research, in my understanding, should be the inner interest of a particular researcher, should not be imposed by someone else. So what is step suggests is that first you should create the problem, your interest in that particular problem. You should ask the questions by yourselves, and on the basis of that, your nature of interest on a particular topic or a particular problem, and this problem, this interest in your mind will guide in literature review. So first of all, we need to create a problem from our side, within, not imposed by someone else. Then on the basis, Cooper's, he mentioned that it is exactly as the research proposal, primary research proposal that we used to submit during the course of our research. So literature review is exactly the same way as we collect the data, primary data. So he has compared with that. So when you submit a synopsis, we create the problem. So here also, on the basis of the topic, you should create your own problem. How should I collect? What will be the resource? What will be the conditions that I was supposed to collect? What are the questions? What are the research questions? On the basis of that, literature review has to be done. Then data collection. What does data collection means in literature review? It means to collect the exhaustive relevant articles. Nowadays, literature review in PhD has been written as relevant literature review. Relevant word has been added by many scholars. So here also, data collection involves in literature review. It is not a data collection by in the research, going in the field, something like that, not like that. But here data collection means extraction of exhaustive, large number of relevant articles. Here you will not go inside. Suppose someone is interested in drug abuse. So you will collect as much articles and books relevant to these topics. But till this stage, you will not go deep inside what is there in that particular books. You will only collect. And next step is data evaluation. As we go for a field, then we gather data, then we evaluate in our PhD thesis or in a research article. So in literature review also, as we have collected extensive number of relevant articles and books, now here you will now go into the deep. What is there that I have collected so many articles or books. Now you extract and evaluate the information in the articles, which met the inclusion criteria. Suppose out of 100 or 200 or so, you have collected number of books and articles and journals. Now, when you go deep inside, and worthy to be included may be few, because earlier what you collect is only in a greater perspective on the basis of a research problem. Suppose drug abuse. But when you go inside the third stage, you read it, and you found that out of 100, only 50 are worthy to be included in a review. The next step is analysis and interpretation. Here, reviewer attempts to make sense of the extracted data. In the third step, you have extracted the data. Out of 100, 50 is worthy to be included in the review. Now, in the fourth stage, what you will do is, reviewer attempts to make sense of that extracted data. You create and organize the retrieved data in the order of historical perspective or in the manner of from earlier to present, past to present, or you can organize in the form of say, for example, from generalization to the core issue. So whichever you deem it fit, or are suggested by a journal or suggested by the scholar, university, if it is a PhD, MPhil, or are suggested by a guide. Then fifth, review, determines and synchronize, creates the data which will be presented or can be left out. Now finally, what you do is you synchronize the data, create the data, mainly important one, and it will be presented, it will be written down, or unuseful one you can again left out. So that is the steps suggested by Coopers in this taxonomy of literature review. Then next again, Ogwa and Malen has mentioned 8 steps of literature review. It's the same thing, but only he has enhanced some other points. Create audit trail means you collect, you create the steps, the methodology, everything has been planned. Define the focus of the review. We can define with your research topic or proposal. Specific, ignoring other things, because research there is always times and money constraint. So you have to be very specific, focus which area you are going to review or information you need. Then search for the relevant literature. You have to search for that relevant. Then classify the documents. It is the same, almost the same as earlier. Create a summary, synchronize the summary, which can be included or which can be excluded. Because you have collected so many data or articles or books, and while you classify the documents, you have found that so many are rejected, not relevant with my topics. So there's a question of inclusion or exclusion. Identify the construct. Hypothesize the linkage. Now you try to link that particular data or relevant articles, hypothesize it, and try to link with your research proposal. So that is why relevant literature. If there is no linkage with your research topic and the literature that you have reviewed, it's simply meaningless. And search for the contrary findings and rival interpretation. With that particular research article has some shortcomings, or the findings or the interpretation were not up to the mark or not up to the date, here you will try to contest. And that is also very important when you submit a manuscript in a index journals. They will always ask you to submit the existing literature review and your contribution. So you have to contest in that line. You have to find the contrary. What is the new in your research proposal? And what is the lacking in the existing literature? And how you can interpret differently from the existing literature. The next is use colleagues or informants to corroborate the findings. Peer reviewing is always important. Peer discussion is always important, although it is not mandatory. So the more you discuss with your colleagues, the more you discuss with the peer groups, it is always useful to get so many informations. So there may be methodologically wrong. So when you show all these findings or the steps that you have done, then here you can have more inclusion or exclusion on the basis of the discussion with the colleagues or the informants or the peer groups. So these are some of the steps that has been mentioned by the this Ogwa and Malen, almost the same with the Cooper's suggestion. So now, sources of the literature. So until very recently, when we are doing the masters in 2003, we don't have any mobiles. We don't have any facilities for internet. So what a researcher used to do during that period of time? So the only available option is the institutional libraries. So it is important to know where sources are located and which sources are acceptable for review. So two types of database are available. So first one is the institutional libraries. And nowadays, even the institutional libraries, physical visits may not be needed in certain research proposals or research problems, because many of the libraries now go for digitization. Important books has been digitized. This physical books has been digitized because it is very difficult to maintain the physical books. Although when you visit libraries, you feel proud that you are doing something. You feel the sense of pride that at least someone is seeing you visiting libraries. So that is the another aspect. So conventional subject searching, it is possible only when you physically visit the institutional libraries, although many of the libraries now have been gone for digitization, and that is also possible when sitting at home, just like now we are sitting at home and discussing each other, the program like this. So nowadays institutional libraries are also going for a digitization, and you will find so many e-books also. So however, I already said that, so visiting library physically means something for the research, so we feel proud of it. And contact with the expert. So although it is not mandatory, but it is always suggestive. to contact with the expert. And who are the expert here in the literature review? Means the person who has already done in the line of the problem that you propose. So suppose in my case, I have done on displacement. So I can name so many scholars, renowned scholars like Hussein, Burman, etc., etc. So they have done extensively work on displacement. So what is the harm in contacting those people? So you will get insight of your research proposal. So even if it is not mandatory, but contact with expert is always advisable. Then reference list checking. So when you find a particular research article very important in the line of your research proposal or in the line of your research topic, then you review it, you will find it very interesting, you will find it very relevant. Then what you can do more from that particular existing literature? You check more and more resources from that particular article. From where? From the references, from the bibliography or the footnotes cited by that particular authors in that particular article. So that is one of the best easy way method of searching for the resources of a particular literature of a particular research topic. So reference list checking is always advisable for the scholars or even for the academics like me, because in a particular research article we will find not more than 20 to even sometimes 50, 100 reference list. So here you will find so many important and relevant research articles. That is known as reference list checking. And another one which is very familiar for the last not more than 5 to 7 years maybe. So online database, which knowingly unknowingly used to go for a Google search. But Google search is not always advisable. Renowned scholars will never suggest for simply searching in the Google. So there are a lot of relevant and very important database that is available online. So first one is journal database. So journal database. So Science Direct, Web of Science, Scopus, JSTOR, and many more. This Science Direct, Web of Science, you will find so many highly indexed journals. Although Science Direct and other things have to be borne out by lakhs of rupees, it will be available only in the library. And it can be accessible only when you visit the library. So you cannot directly go for those resources. So it has to be either bought out by the institution. Since it is a very costly one, individual cannot buy those kind of things. So Web of Sciences, you will find so many journals, social science, management, science, medical, everything. Then of course Scopus, JSTOR, etc. Then online depositories like InFlipNet, ShortGanga, UGC Infonet, Google Scholar, ResearchGate, etc., etc. There are so many depositories nowadays, which is accessible free of cost. So this can be the other options. Then citation and index searching. For social sciences, we have so many citation index resources. Just like we have Social Science Citation Index, International Bibliography of Social Sciences, Applied Social Sciences Index and Abstracts, Education Resource Information Center, British Education Center, etc. These are basically the index, citation index searching, which is very useful. If you go in that, you will find so many highly indexed journals in that. And these are all recognized by the UGC peer-reviewed journals. So here I forgot to mention about the UGC peer-reviewed recognized journals. So SSCI, Scopus, there are automatically approved journals. When you go for a literature review, you just go to SSCI, you go for Scopus, and whatever is included in those two are automatically listed in the UGC journals. So those are highly very important resources, and that is also very reliable. And for that is not important. It is basically for other science background. So, for example, as references for social science and health, we have Medline, we have CINAHL, we have Cyclid, Biosys, Embase, and so many more. Management studies, we have Emerald, Management Review, and for library and information sciences, we have LISA, Library and Information Science Abstract, etc., etc. Then, what are the which literature appropriate for review? So, topmost accepted and approved literature are from scholarly empirical articles, dissertations, and books. So basically, scholarly empirical articles, dissertations, and books stands at the top of reliable literature review. Then secondly, scholarly non-empirical articles in essence, which follows certain methodical. Then textbooks, of course, textbook is not suggestive, but you can have as a reference encyclopedias, dictionaries, trade journals articles, then certain nationally and internationally recognized good magazines. So as I said, however, two topmost appropriate sources are from academic journals and books. And if you have to choose within academic journals and books, again, academic journals will stand at the top, because for publishing books, it takes years. And by the time books has been published, certain data may be obsolete. So which one is most appropriate? It is academic journals. You will find it very up-to-date information in academic research journals. And what are the common mistakes during literature review? So again, Gall and Gall claim that most frequently mistakes that researchers do while reviewing a literature are not clearly relate the findings of the literature review to the research own study. Suppose we have a tendency of reviewing that Professor A has done this, Professor B has done this, and Professor C has done this. The critical analysis of that particular research article. That is one of the most common mistakes that we used to do. So while reviewing literature, what we need to do is, what are his methodologies, what are his findings, whether it is the ideas are corroborated with the practicality, whether there is a shortcomings. This has to be found out. And these shortcomings you are going to fulfill by going for a own research proposal. Then not taking sufficient time to define the best descriptors and identify the best sources to use review literature related one's topic. Sometimes we used to review literature which is not relevant with our own topics. We used to simply see the title, but we never correlate with our own research topic. That is also most common mistakes that you used to do. Relies on secondary sources rather than the primary sources in reviewing the literature. So here, secondary sources rather than the primary sources in reviewing the literature means, so it may be applicable for the other subjects other than social sciences. So since it is a common suggestive, common shortcomings, and that may be so important for social science. So next is uncritically accepts another research findings and interpretations as valid rather than examining critically all aspects of the research design and analysis. So simply we are making a suggestive kind of review that the Mr. A or Professor A has done this, he has found this, he has found those, and we are not examining critically. And we are accepting the views. So when you accept everything in a literature review, then what is there left for you to do? What left for you to do? It is simply mere a repetition. So that is also one of the common mistakes that we used to review in a literature. And does not report the search procedures that were used in the literature review. What are the search procedures? From where you got the sources? From where you find it? What are the citation? Whether it is in the index, whether it is. So suppose many of the scholars at one point of time use even WikiLeaks as a literature. But WikiLeaks cannot be regarded as a literature for review in a research. Highly indexed journals will never accept Wikipedia. Sorry, I said WikiLeaks, Wikipedia as an resources for review. They will simply reject it. It is only an information, and many information were mistakes. So it is not a reliable source. So certain procedure has to be very specific. So when you go for a search in the literature citation, thus we have mentioned about these BIOSIS, SSCI, BI, etc. Those are the very specific and appropriate and accepted sources. Then does not consider contrary findings and alternative interpretations in synthesizing quantitative literature, even in qualitative literature. So we should always find the contrary in alternative interpretation. If we accept everything that is interpreted, then there is nothing left for you to research or your topic. So we should always try to find out his findings, his shortcomings, what are the methodologies used, whether it is appropriate or not. And this we never try to understand. And this lack of understanding makes literature review irrelevant for the researcher. So lastly, I said in the beginning that literature review is one of the most neglected part for social science researchers. So if it is so, then imagine grades without knowledge and vice versa. So what is the importance of grades if you do not have the knowledge? And if you do not have the knowledge, and even grades is also very important. So grades and knowledge, these are complementary to each other. So likewise, imagine a research without systematic literature review and vice versa. There is no research without systematic literature review, and literature review is meaningless without the research. So both are complementary to each other. So these are the references, and thank you for the patient hearing. Thank you very much. Over to you, Pathak.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Oh, yeah, I'm audible.
A very nice and very informative presentation that has been presented by you for our honorable participants, and I hope that all the participants from different universities as well as colleges from India and abroad, they will be benefited surely. And whatever you have been mentioned in your presentation, especially what is literature review, the purpose of literature review, and also the different steps which are necessary to make literature review, even the sources of the literature review, as well as the institutional search, and also the online database, again, appropriate literatures, and even the common mistakes during literature review, all everything that you have made very clearly in your presentations, and even in conclusion, whatever quote that has been you shared with us, I think all the our honorable participants as well as the listeners and also the research scholars, even our students will definitely be benefited from it. So it's the time for interaction, and now I request our honorable participants, whether it may be faculty member or maybe research scholar or maybe student, they can ask question, and I request them to unmute their audio so that they can ask clearly one by one. Only one questions again and again I repeat it because we are already too late for the second session. So it's the time for our participant to ask our honorable research persons regarding this topic, literature review in research. Thank you all.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, yes, you are
Am I
audible.
audible? Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Thank you, sir, for your very interesting and impactful presentation. We're very helpful for that. And my question is to that if I want to research on a topic, I mean, for our any local problem, and then I find that there are not sufficient literatures available. So then what should I do?
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes.
sir.
So one of the important criteria while reviewing a literature is, first of all, you go for a generalization. Okay. You go for a generalization. Then you scale down, narrow it down to the basics. Suppose certain areas are very virgin. If it is a virgin area, then it is one of the most important part of a particular scholar that you are going to present a new kind of things. So, however, each and every areas has a certain generalization areas. Suppose when you go for a displacement, conflict-induced displacement, for example. So displacement is not only in terms of a particular area. There is a displacement everywhere in the world. Because you try to generalize the problem. What are the impact of displacement around the world? Narrow it down to regional context. Suppose South Asia. Narrow it down to India. Then again comes down to specific area where your research area falls. Suppose Northeast. So in this way, you just search the literature from broad to specific. If it is very virgin, then you are the most lucky one to go for that particular problem of research. So the main ideas of reviewing the literature or finding is, first you go for a generalization, narrow it down to specific, from micro to macro. So that is how you have to search the literature, as well as how you have to review the literature.
So can I use newspaper reports for that? I mean, to gain ideas?
So newspaper is also considered, but if the sources are, if you want the very relevant data,
Okay.
then you can go for a for newspaper, even electronic news, etc. Even TV news, etc. Because these are the most recent one, and this cannot be published in a journal immediately. It takes time. So for a researcher which you needs a very relevant data or very new data, then that is also one of the reliable source, newspaper and other magazines. But again, certain highly indexed journals, they have their own ideas, they have their own criteria. Yesterday, one of the madams, she has spoken about certain criteria of submitting the manuscript. So each and every highly indexed journal, they have their own criteria, and they may not accept newspaper as the source of the literature. So it depends on the manuscript that you are going to submit in a particular journals.
Okay, I again request another participants to ask if there is any question for research person.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, yeah, I'm audible.
Sir, thank you for your presentation. Sir, I have a question. If we found more relevant study related to our study or relevant literature related to our study or article, it means our does it mean our study is less authentic?
Pardon? Your study is what? Last word?
Sir, if we found more, does it mean our study is less authentic?
Your study is authentic.
Yes, sir. My question.
Not audible. Hello?
I think, sir, I think she asked you that whether his own writings can be used for literature review for her next anyone projects or maybe research.
Means his or her own article.
Yes, yes, its own writings.
Yeah. That you have to do.
Yeah.
And that is also one of the common mistakes when we submit PhD thesis.
Yes.
Why plagiarism is coming high? Because you are not citing your own articles. Right. Suppose we need to publish 2 or 3 articles before submitting the PhD thesis, right? And you have already published in the peer-reviewed journals. But you quote those peer-reviewed journals, and since because it is your own, you never cite. And all this software called plagiarism detects all this. It will simply makes you copying from your own articles. And it happens from many scholars within our university also. So whenever it was published, whether it is you by or somebody else, it has to be cited. And you can review it also.
Yes. Next participant, please. Next participant, please. Any question? Hello.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yeah. Good evening.
Thank you, sir, for your nice presentation. Then, sir, one question: how to write a good literature review? Is it have any steps?
Yeah. As I have mentioned, there are some of the steps. The common steps is that you have your own knowledge about your topic. That is your problem creation, right? Then you go for a literature.
Okay.
Which is relevant with your problem or topic.
Okay.
Then if you found is that this topic is or research article is relevant and reliable, then you go for a review. And what should you review in that particular paper or that particular process of review? First, you try to understand what method he or she has followed, what techniques of data collection she or he has followed, whether it is primary, secondary. What are the methodological procedures that he or she has followed? What are the outcomes of that particular literature? Then you find out the shortcomings. And shortcomings you may not write in that particular context, but in the later parts, you have to justify why your research topic is new, what contribution that you are going to do other than the existing literature. So that is how you have to review the literature. Otherwise, if everything is same, everything is expected by you, then what is left for you to do a research? So we should find, if you find it in the methodology, make it methodology as a shortcoming. If you find it that the criteria for selection of data collection is not accurate, point out that one. If you find that the accuracy of results is not enough, needs further research. So those are some criteria while doing a review. So we cannot simply make that A has done this, B has done this. This is not the right way of reviewing a literature. I think you got my point.
One more question may be asked by another participant. If you want, because we have not much more time, because another most renowned resource persons in our second session also. So one or maybe two questions may be asked by participant, please, if you have any query.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Yeah, sir, how should we organize literature review in our thesis? Should it be chronologically or by author or by different, I mean,
No.
theoretical approaches?
No, the best method of reviewing a literature is in a chronological order in terms of year, right? From past to present, right? And from general to specific. First, there are so many criteria. Huh? First, you go for generalization, then comes to specific, right? And if it is in terms of geography, from larger area to smaller to specific. Then in terms of year wise, make it past to present. If you make it past year, you make it present year, it will be confusing. If you make it chronological in terms of year wise, then it makes sense that suppose 1990, somebody has done this. 1991, somebody has done this. 1992, someone has done this. So in this way to the present. And likewise from past to present. Then from generalization to specific. And if it is in terms of geography, from larger geographical area to specific area. So that is the main criteria as suggested by many important scholars.
Any question? So now we are going to finish the first session, and thank you, Dr. Zonin Musari sir, and again all the participants who have joined and very carefully they listen all the concept that has been delivered and presented by our honorable research persons. So I hope you will again have to be joined for the second session in where we have 36 years of experience professors from Kerala Cochin University. So I request all of you to rejoin again in the second link that has been delivered in our group, shared in our group. Thank you, Zonin sir. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, again we are going to rejoin for the second session. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you all the participants.
Most welcome, sir. Janto, are you audible to me? Am I audible, Janto? I think he's